welcome Jake Poore to our WG Contents Unscripted. It's so nice to have you.
Well, it's nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I think most people know who you are. I've seen you on stage many times at many different conferences in lots of different jobs that I've had over the years. So I'm like honored that you're spending 15 minutes with me and you're actually leaving for Salt Lake City, I think, in a few days. So hopefully we can even get this published before you're at HMPS and people will really get to know you. And then you'll have all kinds of people just, coming up to you talking about your childhood and your dog and that sort of thing, right?
I would love it. I would love it. I'm
Yeah.
pretty transparent, so I think most people who hear me speak kind of know a little bit about
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Very cool. You have a very cool background, a really neat job. A lot of people that really support the work that you do. So, Jake is the Chief Experience Officer, if for those that don't know, for Integrated Loyalty Systems background with Disney, global international speaker. So, very well renowned, I think, author too, right? Have you written
Yeah.
some work? So,
Yes, some
all
work.
right. Well, today though, we're not talking about work. We're talking
No.
about you, everything about you. So you know what you're in for, and I've got all kinds of questions here, and I'm just going to start asking you. Are you ready?
Shoot. Yes, ma'am.
All
Shoot.
right. What is one of your favorite childhood memories? Maybe start with where you grew up and then
I
talk
grew
to us
up.
about.
I grew up in a suburb of Rochester, New York, or like we
Okay.
refer to in the wintertime as Rottenchester, New York, because
Oh,
we don't
sure.
measure snow in inches, we measure it in feet. But I was very fortunate to grow up on Lake Ontario, sailing, snow skiing, loved it. From a big family, six brothers and sisters, seven
Okay.
kids. And one of my favorite childhood memories, I will tell you, I grew up on a street with a lot of kids my age, boys and girls, and from
Mm-hmm.
all backgrounds and skin color and
Mm-hmm.
ethnicities. And it was great. We just had so much fun building go-karts and mini
Yeah.
bikes and climbing pear trees and building forts and playing with sticks like
Yeah.
soldier in the weeds. And there was 40 acres of cornfield behind my house,
Yeah.
not ours. But we had so much fun just playing in the dirt. That
Yeah.
was, and we're still friends to this day.
That's
We have
great.
about seven of my 12 closest friends. I say 12 because we're in a fantasy football league together.
Okay.
Our kids I
Perfect.
went to kindergarten with. So
Yeah.
very fortunate to have that upbringing.
Yeah. I think, for us that had that sort of childhood where, you really, if you had fun, you had to look for the fun, right? And you had to
Right.
create the fun. And,
Yeah.
you were out until the street lights went on, off and all, or on and all those sorts of things. And so that kind of childhood, I think my kids, they're now in their 20s, look at that as like, they kind of wish they had that, you
Yeah.
know? And so I think we're super lucky that we had those sorts of childhoods.
I
And
agree.
I get the snow thing. I grew up in Minnesota for a number of years and I
Oh,
understand that. Yeah.
you know cold more than most
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Your eyelashes are frozen, it's
Your
just a
lungs.
whole thing.
You
Yeah.
need electric starters or heaters for the engine block. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't
And
have that.
nothing stops when it's
Yeah.
when it's snowing in Rochester, New York or in
Yeah.
Minneapolis. Nothing
And
stops.
our kids, they roll their eyes. I know, mom,
I
barefoot,
know.
both ways uphill. But we used to have to light our keys before the little electronic keys. We used to have to lighter our keys to get it in the door or use our credit card in May
Yeah.
9th, after a foot of snow surprises us. We had to
Yeah.
use our credit card to clean the
Hmm.
windshield
Yeah.
because we didn't have ice scrapers.
Yeah. No, I have
Pretty
those
fun.
same memories. Trick or treating in like snow boots because it was so much
Yeah.
snow outside.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, what's on your someday I want to do that list?
Oh,
You do a
that's
lot of
easy.
things, but you got any plans to do some new
Yeah,
things?
I grew up on a 33-foot CNC sailboat. It wasn't my boat. I was crew on Lake Ontario, and I dreamed that someday I'm going to have a 55-foot catamaran that is sort of like two sailboats with a big living room in the middle, and I'm going to sail around the world. So that's on my bucket list. My wife knows it, and my kids know it, and my kids are in college now. So hopefully in 4 years, when they're all out,
Yeah,
I can start working on that dream.
I love that dream. So, a couple questions about that.
Yeah,
Do you know how to sail?
I do.
Okay,
Yes.
so this is not something where you'd have to like learn how to do it, or I mean, so do you do you do it right now, just at a different scale?
Yes, on a much smaller scale. I
Okay.
have a 17-foot catamaran.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
17 feet. So yeah, I can ride that sucker on one pontoon,
there you go.
like the best of them. But I do know how to sail big boats, and I have been certified as a
Okay.
captain. But no, I don't own anything bigger than a little catamaran right
And where do you keep it?
In Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Okay, that's right. You're
We
in
have a
Orlando.
beach house over
You're
in
in a
Cocoa.
good spot for those
Yeah,
kinds of things.
yeah.
All right, if you could invite anyone to dinner, alive or not, famous or not, who are we inviting?
Oh, wow. Boy, I would have to say, I would have to say, I would have to say, and I can't think of his name for a moment. Um, but I would have to say, I was going to say Hippocrates, but I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say Ben Franklin.
Hmm.
And let me tell you why. What an interesting human being. He dealt
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of adversity
Mm-hmm.
and diversity during the American Revolution, flying back and forth to France, having to learn French. He also invented a lot of things. He
Mm-hmm.
invented electricity as we know it from a lightning strike. He invented the bifocal glasses, which I'm thankful. I'm trifocal now. Um,
I'm not sure
but
what
he
that is.
also dealt with a lot of politics and cultural transformation. And I would love to pick his brain on how he circumnavigated the globe and still made everyone happy without corrupting his own core values. And he wrote
Mm-hmm.
an autobiography about his 13 values, and he created time management, which I followed through the Franklin Covey time management
Mm-hmm.
tool. And he mastered 12 of those values, and the only one he didn't master was humility. And on his deathbed, his best friend says, "Hey, how did you do on your 13 values?" He goes, "I didn't master the 13th one, the one that you gave me." So
Well,
it wasn't
I
one that
would
he,
imagine just
yeah,
the expression of that though is humility,
I
right?
agree. I agree. So I think Ben and I would have to have breakfast and maybe a beer down at the Treaty of Paris and Annapolis where he
Okay.
hung out.
All
Yeah.
right. Or we get to take them out on your sailboat or your catamaran.
Yeah. I don't know if he sails, but
Yeah,
he had
that
to go back and forth on the ocean. So yeah.
it could be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right. If your closest friends described you in 3 words, what would they say?
Creative, tenacious, fun.
Creative, tenacious, and fun. Give me an example of some of the fun things that you do. What's a fun weekend for you?
Well, I'll give you my last a fun weekend. Well, let me get to my first reaction first. I'll come back to the fun
Yeah.
weekend. Um, I never show up to a costume party undressed. In other words, not dressed in a costume.
Yeah.
So for Halloween, I was invited to a neighborhood party and I showed up as Captain Obvious from hotels.com. And so that was not funny. I mean, it was
Yeah.
novel and people laughed. Oh, you're Captain Obvious. And no, I
Yeah.
didn't recognize you behind the beard.
Yeah.
And then my friends just, or my clients just asked me to do a speech on the power of connections. And I showed up as Captain Obvious. And they were looking at me like, where's Jake Poore? And I said, I am Jake Poore. But what I'm about to talk about is so common sense, it's just not common practice. It's obvious. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw that out as during my sessions, when I do my training, I always hand out little Disney trinkets,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars characters, Mickey Mouse, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, kind bars, those little
Mm-hmm.
kind bars. If you don't like Disney, here's a kind bar. And I always ask the audience, why am I doing that? They're like, oh, you're rewarding participation. Yeah, why else? Oh, you used to work at Disney. Yeah, why else? You're all in medicine. You're 600 anesthesiologists. Why would I be handing out anything? And somebody yells out the word I've been looking for. It's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Are you having fun? Are you competing for these stupid little $3 critters? Yes, you are. Why? Because we don't have fun in
Yeah.
life. So
Yeah.
stop by Home Depot tomorrow and on your next team meeting, and
Yeah.
buy those little blank keys and say that was
Yeah.
a key idea and just hand it out. Watch the competition. I want to get a key, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think that you're going to be kind of seriously disappointed on my weekends. My weekends is I work so hard during the week
Yeah.
that I just spend my time on the weekends either gardening, fishing, or hanging out with my family. So I don't think I'm very quote unquote fun, other than sometimes I'll allow the kids to eat dessert first before we eat dinner. So my wife doesn't like that part, but that's
Yeah.
my fun contribution.
No, I love how you describe that though, because I don't know, 100 years ago, someone said to me, like, fun doesn't happen to you, you make fun happen. And so it really is, and that's about all things, right? It's like where you put your energy and your intention and your focus. And so always looking for the fun and creating the fun and
Yeah.
being mindful about that because it's, certainly there are moments where it happens to us, but really the more we can put energy into it, the more often we're going to have fun, right?
I wholeheartedly agree. And it's also everything I do is intentional
Yeah.
and it shouldn't have to be, but I teach that later. I do the callback in my presentation to say, remember I handed out those trinkets? I want to treat you is
Hmm.
exactly how I want you to treat your team members
Hmm.
or your patients. And the quote that my best friend Jack Dunleavy at Lehigh Valley uses all the time, and I'll give him credit, is it shouldn't cost $1 million to make someone feel like $1 million.
Hmm.
And so those little trinkets kind of like warm your heart. And even if you don't
Yeah.
like Disney, you can give it to somebody who does. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I was on a call with a client the other day and they're going through a big, huge website project. And they were like, yeah, we just keep telling each other, like, just keep swimming from Nemo, Finding Nemo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I found
Dory.
this
Yeah.
really cool like plaque of Dory and Nemo that says just keep swimming. And I sent it to them. I'm like, now put this up in your office. And so those little moments, those moment makers, we call it,
Absolutely.
really go a long way.
I love it. Way to
Okay.
celebrate. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if you could swap jobs with anyone for a day, who would it be?
Oh, God, that's really tough
You're going to be
because
our
as we,
president. You should be our president. How about
well,
that?
oh, don't get me started on that. But as you started out your call, I have the best job in the world. And now I'm
Yeah.
in my 60s. I get to pick and choose what I want to do.
Yeah.
So, I never let money get in the way of doing the right thing. And I get to do so much. And I write so much now. It's
Yeah.
hard to say who else's job I would want better than mine. If you've ever seen me speak or in one of my workshops, you would know two things. Number one, I have more fun than the audience. So I figure if I'm not having fun, how can they have fun? I look at an audience, if they look bored, it's because I'm boring, right?
Hmm.
Number two, when I do a face plant in my hotel bed, a swan dive, I
Hmm.
know I've left everything on the table.
Yeah.
So I don't know who has more fun than me. Give me an idea.
Listen, you're fulfilling what is the best thing. I mean, like you want to be happy where you are, right? And you
Yeah.
want to be happy with what you're doing. So I
Yeah.
think that's the model we're all going for.
I'll
So,
give you a litmus test. So our plane is going down. We're somewhere over Baltimore, Maryland. The plane is going steep down to the ground, and I'm been upgraded to first class. And this elderly woman next to me
is this
is
a true
clawing.
story?
This is a true story. This
Okay.
plane is going. This plane's going down. The plane
Okay.
all of a sudden just goes. "Ee."
Yeah.
This lady is clawing her fingers into my hand, and I look at her. I go, "You gonna be okay? Should I hold your hand?" She goes, "Why are you so calm?" I go, "I'm good."
Yeah.
She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Listen, I don't want to die. I'm going to miss my family, but I am okay with it." Right.
Hmm.
And I think when you're at peace with that, that
Hmm.
you've done not everything that you want to do, but so much that you're so proud of, then
Hmm.
I'm okay with that. I think that's my
Yeah.
litmus, you know.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. And I think too, I'm one of those people that like same thing. Like if I'm in a plane and it's crazy or whatever the situation might be that seems scary or risky or whatever, I'm always
Yeah.
like, well, life is sort of it's all happening as it should, right? And so I'm not
Yeah.
afraid of that. So like
Yeah.
if this is the way it's supposed to be, then that's in my story, I guess. And so
Right.
I sort of succumb to that, I guess, a little
Yeah.
bit. Um, all
I think
right.
that's
So
right.
one last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, actually two. I'm throwing an extra one on you.
Good. I like
Share with
extra.
me something that you're looking forward to this year.
Mm.
And then the second question is just generally speaking, what brings you joy? Your
Oh,
work clearly brings you joy, but
oh.
let's think of like in your otherwise, maybe, another thing that brings you joy. So first one, what are you looking forward to this year?
I'm going to start backwards because
Okay,
joy.
please do.
I think joy is easy. Um, I think medicine is a miracle. I think
Hmm.
the human body is a miracle, and to see my firstborn child come out and be able to catch her, cut the umbilical cord, and just look at my wife in total
Hmm.
awe to say, "This just came out of you." Then watch open heart surgery, and I've seen now over 30 open heart surgeries, have them stop the heart, take a ventricle out, take a cow or or a pig valve, put it in, sew it up, restart the heart, and then talk to that person the next day and say, how was your patient experience? I'm like, that's joy, that's awe. And
Mhm.
I'm honored to leave
Mhm.
Disney after 9/11 and be in
Mhm.
medicine for the past 25 years. I think what I'm looking forward to most is to embrace the unknown. I
Mhm.
read this book called Unreasonable Hospitality about 3 years ago by a restaurateur in New York City, Will Guidara, and it blew me up how he went from getting on the 50th best restaurants in the world to number one, what he did over 7 years in building an intentional culture. I read this and I go, oh my God, that's what I do. And
Mhm.
so I called him up. I said, I need to be certified in your book. And he goes,
Mhm.
you need to call Coach Builder. They do that. I don't do that. I'm like, all right. So I became a coach builder. I got certified in his book. And now I'm on the road teaching a workshop called Unreasonable Hospitality for Healthcare. And
Mhm.
I'm going to launch it through Advent Health, as we talked about off the air. I'm looking forward to that because it's
Mhm.
nothing I've ever done before, even though it's everything I've done over the past 40 years at
Mhm.
Disney and in medicine. But it's going to be coupled into this idea of we don't want reasonable medicine. We don't want reasonable hospitality or compassion. We want it to be unreasonable, above above the average. So that's what I'm excited about most. Besides that, family vacation in upstate New York with the family this summer.
That's perfect. I love it. I think I'm going to be, well, I know I'm going to be so curious to hear about the unreasonable hospitality because I think about that's so important and so exciting and so interesting in theory. And then the application and execution of what that means inside of a healthcare environment
Yeah.
is like really big to get there. And so you've got your work cut out for you.
Well, I'll ask you a question I'll flip the interview over to me. How do you
Please,
eat an elephant, Kirsten?
one bite at a time.
That's right. So we're going to break
Yep.
this down into small. Nobody wants to follow me into war. Okay. Let's pretend
Hmm.
my face is painted. I got a kilt on. I'm Mel Gibson, right? In Braveheart. And I turn and I say, all right, men and ladies, follow me. We're going to do small incremental change over a long period of time. Nobody's going to follow me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if I say, hey, tomorrow we're going to start our meetings on the human, then we're going
Hmm.
to do our agenda, and then we're going to end our meetings on the human,
Hmm.
human business, human, always that order. We're
Hmm.
before we enter the patient group, we're going to knock, we're going to make eye contact, we're going to smile, we're going to enter the room on the human.
Hmm.
Then we're going to do our clinical physical exam. We're going to end the encounter on the human. We're going to type our emails, human, business, human.
Hmm.
I think that's possible. And they're like, yeah, I can do that. I said, can
Hmm.
you do it always? Can you give me 21 days? And all of a sudden, their patient satisfaction scores up. Their turnover goes down. Their bucket gets full because when you give, you get. So I'm a pragmatic idealist, not
Hmm.
just an idealist.
You
And
have
so
to
we got
be.
to break
Yeah.
it down. Yeah, you got to break it
Yeah.
down into small inches,
100%.
not go
Yep.
the extra inch, not the extra mile. So
And
that's
I
all.
think, yeah, no, I think that's the best. That's really the only way to do it. And then building in really kind of the sustainability, right? So it's like you're doing these things and then you have all these great results. Well, keeping that energy and sustaining that and the practices around rewarding and along the way so that that energy doesn't diminish around all that great work. So, it's been a lot of fun getting to know you better. And I know you'll be seeing a lot of people next week in Salt Lake City. I'm bummed I won't see you. But I hopefully will see you in Orlando, maybe at HCIC, because you'll probably
Yes,
be there. Okay.
I will be there as well.
All
And
right. Well,
we'll
thank
miss you in Salt Lake, but we'll be thinking about you.
yeah, well, thank you so
We'll
much.
send you
So
some
nice to see you.
selfies.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be looking for him. All right, we'll see you. Take care.
Thanks for your time. Bye bye now.